In this topic, we're looking at some common security threats in the cloud, and here we see an example of some access lists, but what's actually happening is we have a programmer that is using APIs to roll out and to modify these access lists. So the more open our solutions are, the more they are allowed to integrate from apps that are developed by different entities. And so we also many times see a variation in the different types of APIs that are being leveraged. So a couple of things that we should know about APIs if we don't already. Generally, anything that's classified as a northbound API interacts with the apps or the systems that aren't part of the same vendor. So if we're looking at something like an ASA, anything northbound will be some type of API that's associated with an application that is not Cisco. And when we look at anything southbound, these are generally going to be APIs that are created by the same vendor that created the product that we're managing. So those southbound APIs will be, of course, developed by Cisco. So what else do we need to know? There's lots of ways to be able to secure the API. Obviously, this is more and more important as we move to cloud infrastructures. So here we see an example of using cloud management or using Firepower API Explorer through a GUI. So when we log into the GUI, we have to many times remember to make sure that we're using HTTPS, and if we're doing any sort of configuration through the command line, that we're using things like SSH or any secure CLI or command parsers. Also, we do use API keys as a way to authenticate our APIs. So here is the API key interface, or the for the AMP endpoints. And when we look at these profiles, a lot of times they provide an all or nothing API key. So as long as the API customer presents a valid key, the provider should be able to accept the incoming request. But if you ever decommission an app, then the key is technically still valid unless somebody has gone in and either deleted the key or revoked the key. So those might be some things that we want to take into consideration. Now, as far as patch management goes, when we think about the process of keeping devices free from known vulnerabilities, that's where patching comes into play. Obviously, this is not going to protect against things that are unknown, right? Anything that is known, of course, is all that we're preventing against with patching. So when we think about things like, Cisco's Threat-Centric and Talos, these are going to be possibly some things that we can implement as an additional line of defense outside of just doing things like patching.